The other day, I was at a club and I saw a man screaming his lungs out at a woman. Not that they weren't arguing, he just got into this stance that was guttural and almost animalistic, and he just began going, "Ah! And she was laughing. I don't know if it was oh my god, this is uncomfortable laugh or boys will be boys laugh. But she was laughing. A couple of minutes later, I saw this dude that was either he was on coke or he didn't like existing very much because he was just looking everywhere like he didn't have eyes, he had light bulbs. Then you have me, who was planning to have a chill evening but then had panic attacks every 5 minutes because people kept looking at me and and girls kept interacting with me, which why, like why, this is sus, it's very fucking sus. So don't do that. I'm not trying to catch a case. I'm just not. Now perhaps it was the drugs. I do live in Portugal after all, but I I want to believe. I want to believe that there is something that united all of us in this strange situation that was going out after the last 2 to 3 decades of whatever bullshit we've gone through. And I'm not talking about the pandemic, I am talking about this discourse forming around how men should be. The question, how how am I a man? How am I? How do I exist? How do I exist as a human with desires and wishes and wants and eyes and maybe even tact? How do I exist? And a penis. There is no shortage of answers. This is a table. I think this is pretty, but maybe you think this looks either like an eye or like a pussy, which might indicate my something repressed. And this is supposed to be a boot. As I was saying, there is no shortage of answers, and I fucked with it. I fucked with it hard. I am a human. I am 23 years old. Of course, I was a feminist, and of course, I am a feminist. Back in my day, of course, I was, for liberation, and of course, I was for killing all men. Remember that part of history? Remember when everybody is expected to kill the other half of the population instead of, focusing on the 1%? So technically, everybody should know how to be a man. Just don't be toxic. It's easy. But, toxic men do things like they are very angry all the time. They're very angry. They're very angry. They explode. They eat up their emotions and then they explode. And they open doors, expecting things from women, gratification. I mean, entitlement. They are entitled, and they also they they believe they are alphas and they believe they are above everybody else. And curiously, you only see that with men. You only see that with men, and that's what makes toxic masculinity. And how not to be a toxic? Well, it's easy, really. It's easy. You just have to show your emotions to the world. By that I mean cry, of course, because as I said, being extremely angry is bad and it's toxic, and who wants that? Do you want that? Nah. No. So cry, please cry. By every event that happens, even if you're just frustrated, even if what happened is genuinely just making you upset, just cry, but not too often. Not too often, because people get the ick. And you don't want to be like a weak male. I mean, toxic masculinity still exists, of course, and if you even consider other males weak, that is toxic, but don't cry too much. I mean, you still want to be appealing to women or men. Your decision. Looks like nowadays the decision has shifted for some reason. So yeah, don't be very angry. Do cry, but not too often, because that's not sexy. I mean, when was the last time that vulnerability was sexy? Maybe in women, but women be shopping. Also, don't show melancholy. Don't show melancholy. That's toxic also, because you're looking at the past. And don't be too vulnerable, because that's not what people were expecting. Okay, that's not what people were expecting, and you cannot really build any kind of emotional relation towards somebody that's just generally constantly vulnerable, because you have to think of the women. How will a woman feel safe if you're vulnerable and cry and you're angry all the time? No, you're supposed to repress. Wait a fucking minute. Obviously, there is a way. Oh, and sexual desire, curb that completely. Like, don't look at people. Don't build any kind of like desire for other people. Don't 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 imagine or don't have any kind of preference. Fat girls, thin girls, blonde girls, red hair girls, they're all the same. They're all tens. So you are not one though. You're not one. You're mid. You're mid. But everybody else that is not you, they are all tens. And you having a preference is actually sexist and bad. And you should kill yourself. Now, obviously, I don't think that it is impossible to be like healthily masculine. That would be stupid. A healthily masculine person would be a person that's healthy and that is confident. But that's too little of an answer, is it? That's too little of an answer. And that's like too low key for Gen Z. Which let's never forget that Gen Z is the one that had to retake the 89th wave of feminism to bring those wonderful things like masculine and feminine energy. This right wing talking points just rebranded for a new age. The universe? Do you mean God? Okay, I get it. We all have this holy wound inside of us, but like, maybe we should start accepting that we were not as intelligent as we thought with our 15 years of age and absolutely no experience, but all of the mouth and all of the audacity. People talk about an epidemic of lonely men, and very soon an epidemic of lonely women. People talk about an epidemic of lonely men, and people are surprised. People are surprised. Where is this coming from? Why are men lonely? Men, woo. And yet they refuse to see that as a generation, we've tried to do the good things. We try to go left, we try to be liberals, we try to do the things that were good and that were progressive for our age group and our demographic and us. And all that it brought us was just shame and burdensome and ostracizing us from the groups that were supposed to build something for us, or with us, technically with us. We were supposed to build the future together, but now we just ended up fighting in these weird in-groups, and everybody's lonely and everybody's sad, and I want to kill myself. But talking to somebody about this will be entitlement, which is toxically definitely masculine. That masculine urge of killing yourself, am I right? That masculine urge of trying to be better and then being betrayed by a whole fucking gender. But don't dare say it out loud too much, because it's your fault. You shouldn't have listened. Let's see. How can we make it our fault? How can we make it our fault? It's a good exercise. It's a good exercise on what seemed to be the rest of your fucking life. How can we make it our fault? We infiltrated women's spaces. They never asked. Women never asked for men to join feminism. We just infiltrated it, and then we betrayed our own gender, and then we betrayed their gender, and then we made everything worse. Yeah, that sounds about right. It sounds like about the same level of logic that some TikTokers will have. People used to consider me a safe space. Like gender non-conforming women and men and whatever is in between, gremlins of all kinds, punks and, anarchists and communists. They used to consider me like a person to gravitate towards. And it was beautiful for a while until I realized that the left does what the left does best, that being destroying itself for apparently no reason, just to be able to signal to each other, because it's not the right, how good they are for hating these people more than you do. Look, at the end of the day, none of this really matters, and none of this ever has mattered. It's just how the world works. We tried to make it better, and then we became very fucking toxic because we were teenagers when we tried to turn the world upside down. And now we have we are fucking culture in which we're living, in which everybody is kind of. I don't know what everybody is, but everybody is not normal. I was not expecting this reality when I was while growing up. But I mean, this is not my reality regardless. But that's another story. That's another story. That's another story. That's another fucking story. That's another fucking story. A very fucking long story. Now the question in my mind is, am I happy with the person that I've become? No. No, the answer is no. I don't like this. I don't like this. I was expecting to be way cooler and way sexier. And I'm going there. I mean, look at this. Look at this bad boy. But cool I'm not. And I could change it. I could become like the people that I admire, the people that I look up to, the people that are better. But the people that are better and I look up to tend to be rather sociopathic and see people as just objects to obtain, women as trophies to gain, and that goes against everything that I've learned about what people want. I mean, it goes against the theoretical things that I've learned about what people want. Of course, like it's not like I have a lot of practice. I've had girlfriends in the past, of course, but I am not good at dating. Both the action and the events. I fucking hate that shit. I'm not good at that. And you know, as a male feminist, I did my part. I did the thing. I asked the women, what do you want from a person? And the responses are they usually try to build a husband. And like I'm not trying to be a husband at 23. Maybe at 30, maybe 25. Oh, please. But not at 23, and much less at 19 when I was asking these questions. Now, I don't think that women misunderstand this question purposely. After all, the women are also very promiscuous. A lot of them are very fucking promiscuous. And so I don't think that women are oblivious to people having sexual desires. I think more that how do I say one gender is trying to fuck over the other without saying one gender is trying to fuck over the other? Because like when men were fucking over women, it was overtly. Like we objectively said women are objects, women are trophies, trophy wife, trophy babe, sugar babe, we can pay for you, you will be there. Now, when women do the contrary, they don't openly say it. They just show it and gaslight you into not seeing it. And then other men that are down bad go after push behind them and refortify whatever they've got going on. And then you've got a group of both men and women telling you that you are an asshole for having desires. And who are you supposed to believe? Especially if you're in the right, especially if you're in the left wing. I mean, you want to be the best version of yourself, right? And you know this thing is like Dragon Ball. I mean, the more you evolve as a leftist, the more hair you get your color. I mean, the more color you get in your hair. I've been trying to make a joke out of that shit for fucking ages, and this was my attempt, and it wasn't good. But I will keep it because it makes me happy. So yeah, long story short, people are horrible. If you don't believe that everybody is horrible, then you are either ableist or sexist, and that makes me right. Goodbye.